It's heartbreaking, man. Everybody messes up, but we can't.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head.
We burst into that hushed courtroom just as the air seemed to freeze. We could feel the collective heartbeat of every reporter, every legal aid, even the normally unflappable bailiff. Justin Bieber, once the wide-eyed teen wonder, finally tilted his chin toward the bench, his voice low but steady, and the bombshell dropped like shattering glass. Ray J, of all people, hadn't simply stood by at Diddy's infamous freak-off gatherings. He'd allegedly crossed lines so shocking that Bieber branded him worse than Diddy. We watched Bieber's hands tremble as he described being cornered in a guest suite, blinds half drawn, music pulsing like a heartbeat 2 floors below, and Ray J allegedly forcing himself into the sort of exploit that still wakes Bieber in cold sweats. If the public thought Diddy's scandals were the outer limit, Bieber's testimony ripped that ceiling clean off.
What I think he's saying, and look, we spent a lot of time on a new documentary that's on YouTube now called
What Happened to Justin
Bieber. And, my view of this, after especially talking with people in his world, people on his side, is that Justin has had these mental issues for a long, long time that he's been struggling with.
We can picture the betrayal swirling in Bieber's mind. He'd come to those mansion parties in LA expecting career guidance, maybe a quick handshake with industry giants. Instead, according to what he outlined under oath, hidden cameras tracked every hallway, every hot tub alcove, each furtive kiss in the shadow of a spiraling staircase. Those cameras, Bieber claimed, weren't only Diddy's doing. He alleged Ray J personally commanded a second room of monitors, dark screens flickering with grainy feeds, ready to capture whatever compromising tableau might later buy silence or loyalty. No wonder the singer's cheeks flushed crimson as he stared down the man who, in Bieber's words, used trust like a weapon.
Yeah, first time I smoked I don't suggest this, but I was 13. Maybe, 13, 12 or 13.
We felt the oxygen drain when the prosecutor asked Bieber to clarify worse. He whispered that Ray J's approach was colder, more calculated, while Diddy allegedly lavished newcomers with designer gifts and promises of record label magic. Ray J, Bieber said, specialized in isolating fresh faces, separating them from handlers, steering them toward locked bedrooms under the guise of vibe checks. There, Bieber alleged, the R&B fixture inflicted violations so intimate that the pop star's legal team requested a recess merely to let him breathe. The judge consented, but the hush never lifted. We sat in that pause, imagining how a teenage prodigy felt being groomed inside glittering mansions everyone else called paradise. And then came the phrase that made our spines tingle. Ray J was the silent hand behind the blackmail. Bieber described hushed conversations where frightened newcomers were shown still frames, grainy shots of half-dressed celebrities mid-embrace, saved to encrypted drives. To keep the good times rolling, Ray J allegedly told them they'd better keep their own memories foggy and their lips sealed. Those words, Bieber said, cut deeper than any direct assault. They turned every future party into a minefield, each laugh into a potential confession on tape.
There's a short life in
Why do you think that is with the creative side?
Well, because losing out money, you got to take you're going through so much to try and deal with life.
We can't overlook the emotional calculus at play. Back then, Bieber's star was skyrocketing, his every hair flip dissected on E! News, his every mall appearance choked by shrieking fans. Imagine being pulled aside by performers you idolized, promised a seat at the high roller table only to learn that seat doubled as a velvet-lined trap. We recall how industry insiders whispered about these freak-offs, jet-lagged supermodels, athletes tossing back flute after flute of bubbly, R&B legends winking at bodyguards who understood the not-so-subtle code, phones surrendered, NDAs signed in a rush. And once midnight struck, staff cleared corridors so that private entertainment could proceed unchallenged. We've heard fragments for years, the oceanfront property in Miami where neon-lit pool parties devolved into something darker. Ray J allegedly motioning the DJ to crank the bass while a hush spread through the second-floor balcony. The stately Hamptons estate, whose third-story guest room employees now claim hid pinhole lenses at every vent. Yet never have we seen a high-profile witness detail it this bluntly. Bieber's testimony painted Ray J not as a bystander accidentally caught up in Diddy's whirlwind, but as an operator thriving on leverage, cultivating his own subterranean network of hush payments. People do catch and eliminate all day, Ray J himself once blurted in that TMZ documentary. words now echoing like a confession the moment they flashed on the courtroom monitor.
All right, now Ray J, in the meantime, is in TMZ's new Tubi documentary, The Downfall of Diddy Inside the Freak-Offs. That's the part 3 of this Downfall of Diddy that TMZ has been doing. And he had some things to say about celebrities going to Diddy parties and what they're doing now.
We watched the defense flinch when prosecutors replayed that TMZ snippet. Somebody has the truth. Somebody pays you to keep it quiet. Even Ray J's own voice seemed to indict him. He tried to spin it as moral commentary on others. Yet, when Bieber's attorneys paused the clip and let the silence stretch, we could feel jurors wondering, was he describing his own blueprint? We can't forget the psychological stakes for Bieber, who, aged barely 15, found himself chauffeured in Ray J's matte black SUV to hillside estates buzzing with energy drink reps and random social media teens flown in on one-way tickets. We've spoken with former security contractors who claim Ray J insisted on last-minute guest lists, texting only first names and the cryptic phrase, high value. Those contractors say they witnessed panicked attendees stumbling out at sunrise, clutching blankets around their shoulders, wary of the long-range lenses, rumored to be hidden in decorative planters.
Card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying.
We must ask, how did Ray J's alleged influence overshadow Diddy's? Bieber told the court that while Diddy wielded obvious star power, Ray J traded on subtlety. He'd slip into side rooms, whisper in personal assistants' ears, disappear into control booths where, Bieber insisted, he cataloged footage. One technician, now cooperating with prosecutors, claims Ray J once bragged that a certain A-list director owes me favors, tapping a hard drive as he spoke. Add that to Bieber's sworn account, and we suddenly see Ray J as less the comic relief sidekick, more the chess master. At this point, we found ourselves revisiting a rumor many had dismissed as Hollywood urban legend, Ray J's alleged role in the passing of Whitney Houston and, years later, her daughter Bobby Christina. Did Ray J truly orchestrate a cover-up? We've interviewed former hotel staff from the Beverly Hilton who remember frantic knocks on the service elevator doors that tragic evening. One housekeeper, still shaken, recalled Ray J pacing near the tub where Whitney's life ended, phone glued to his ear muttering that this can't get out. Of course, no official charges ever pinned anything on him, but his proximity, combined now with Bieber's lurid claims, cast an even longer shadow.
I believe that somebody my niece, just like they her mother.
We then jump to 2015, when Bobby Christina was discovered unresponsive under eerily similar circumstances. Several insiders whispered that individuals from Diddy's orbit had visited her Atlanta townhouse mere days earlier. Documents newly leaked to the press hint at Ray J's calls to a local fixer, instructing them to contain the scene. Is it coincidence, or the dark through line Bieber's lawyers hope to expose? We aren't saying Ray J orchestrated 2 heartbreaking tragedies, but we can't ignore the murmurs that he might have held enough incriminating footage or knowledge to keep certain truths buried.
I believe that there are several people that wanted Bobby Christina, but I think the purpose of her was to gain full access to Whitney Houston's estate.
Remember that chilling moment outside TMZ studios when Ray J abruptly clammed up, mumbling, "I've said too much"? His eyes darted toward unseen observers, as if he feared hidden forces would silence him next. We, seated today in court, couldn't help connecting the dots. If Bieber's allegations stand, Ray J isn't simply complicit. He may be the key to an entire hierarchy of hush money schemes stretching from recording studios to Beverly Hills law firms. And what of Diddy? His lawyers argue Ray J's alleged misconduct shouldn't further damn their client, insisting the rap mogul was unaware of any covert filming. Yet prosecutors unleashed testimony from a tech specialist who swears he saw Diddy reviewing footage Ray J supposedly delivered on an encrypted tablet. We heard the courtroom gasp. Was Diddy merely a duped host, or did he rely on Ray J's alleged archive to tighten the leash on celebrity guests who witnessed too much?
That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid,
We picture the freak-offs, as Bieber described them. Multi-level bacchanals, where ambient beats masked whispered negotiations, where performers were allegedly given cocktails laced with unknown additives, where Ray J might stroll through hallways like a director checking a set. Bieber said Ray J even introduced a macabre ritual, a closed-door confessional, where rookies had to speak into a camera about their most intimate secrets. later discovering those clips were archived. One witness claims Ray J teased that footage when demanding favors, smiling and reminding them nobody wants their mistakes on the evening news. We've interviewed an A-list actress whose publicist begged her to avoid the Hamptons soiree in 2009. She ignored the warning, later telling us she saw Ray J slip a small USB into Diddy's jacket pocket after sunrise, both men laughing. Nothing happened to her. She left early, but she recalls a trembling backup dancer who swore she'd been filmed during a coercive encounter. That dancer vanished from the industry months later. Today, prosecutors reveal they finally tracked her down in Phoenix, living under a new name, ready to testify.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at it.
The ripple effects stretch globally. A London talent agent we contacted said Ray J flew a young UK boy band singer to LA with promises of a career-launching meet and greet. Within hours of landing, the minor, we'll say teen performer to respect YouTube guidelines, allegedly texted his manager frantic messages about finding hidden lenses in the suite bathroom. Customs records place Ray J on a private jet out of LA that same morning, 6 hours before the teen fled back home and deleted social media. We admit we once rolled our eyes at every conspiracy linking Ray J to celebrity tragedies, yet Bieber's testimony reframes it all. If Ray J truly curated a vault of compromising clips, could he have orchestrated hush money deals when stories threatened to surface? One silent camera, one whispered threat, and entire fortune stay intact. We now wonder whether Whitney's final week marked by tension over unreleased memoirs might intersect with Ray J's alleged leverage game. We've located a source claiming Whitney confided about embarrassing footage she feared would ruin her comeback. Did she know Ray J held it?
Now you know to be hands-off with somebody. A number of producers coming to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept.
The courtroom lights dimmed slightly as a projector clicked on, cautioning jurors about explicit content. We braced ourselves, expecting harrowing visuals. Instead, prosecutors played audio of Ray bragging during a late-night yacht party. One clip in the vault is worth more than all of MTV. The recording includes hollow laughter, clinking glasses, and an unidentified voice, possibly Bieber, saying, "That's messed up." We felt a chill, because if Bieber once confronted Ray J about this trove, what retribution followed? Did Ray J push harder, needing to keep the pop prodigy compliant?
I've lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that because the man card means everything.
We can't neglect the emotional toll laid bare on the stand. Bieber confessed that for years he numbed his trauma with illicit substances, waking each afternoon in a haze haunted by flashbacks of Ray J's grip. He remembered a particular Hamptons morning when Ray J allegedly shoved him into a pool for refusing to sing on command. The entire scene, Bieber believes, captured on hidden GoPros tucked among poolside planters. When he threatened to speak out, an associate purportedly reminded him of unflattering footage from the first night he ever stepped foot in Diddy's mansion. That veiled threat, Bieber stated, silenced him for nearly a decade. We couldn't help picturing newer artists, vulnerable, star-struck, wandering similar corridors, unaware of potential traps. A former caterer testified that Ray J always requested extra cranberry-colored towels, hinting at cleanup after bubbly showers gone wild. The same caterer alleges Ray J tipped her $2,000 to disappear before the after-party truly began because staff, he quipped, don't need front row seat. Today, she clutched a rosary as she recounted overhearing muffled cries behind locked double doors, a sound that still unsettles her. We also revisited the night Diddy's sons reportedly clashed with Ray J at a Halloween gathering, broken up by Chris Brown. At the time, tabloids chalked it up to petty ego, but Harry, one of Diddy's security men, now claims the tussle began when one son blamed Ray J for setting up secret lenses. Harry says Ray J laughed it off, but tempers flared, fists flew, and in the chaos, Ray J's phone allegedly dropped, revealing encrypted messaging apps prosecutors now seek.
So, Terrence Howard appeared on the PBD podcast with Patrick Bet-David, and the episode, this premiered on April 4th, definitely making the rounds because in this episode, Terrence Howard describes an interaction with Diddy where he says that he believes that Diddy was trying to have with him. Let's take a look.
We're left wondering, how many hush agreements were struck in sleek Beverly Hills law offices? How many zeros were wired to keep A-listers from ever revealing what Ray J allegedly orchestrated? We reached out to a Hollywood attorney specialized in NDA management. He wouldn't speak on record, yet hinted his firm shredded signed documents once authorities came knocking. If Bieber's testimony prods the FBI's wider probe, a new wave of witnesses may crawl out, names we've long considered untouchable. And still, the specter of Whitney Houston looms. Did Ray J fear she'd reveal clandestine filming, perhaps at Diddy's legendary poolside white parties? One paramedic from that tragic night told colleagues she spotted a small black flash drive on a side table, but never logged it into evidence. Meanwhile, rumors swirled that Whitney had argued with Ray J at a pre-Grammy soiree, accusing him of using people. Nothing proven, but in light of Bieber's words, the puzzle pieces feel painfully ready to snap together.
Continued to engage in all these freak-offs with him, and he sounds really pissed off.
Hey, I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to just give you the heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, at all. So I don't know, you think you silent treating me, and you think I'm going to be, nah. You'll have a rude awakening.
We also note Ray J's own recent outbursts. From cryptic late-night live streams to sudden shutdowns mid-interview, he oscillates between bravado and panic. "Come get me," he dared detractors in that TMZ doc. But after Bieber's bombshell, we saw Ray J leaving a BH-based recording studio, hoodie drawn tight, ignoring cameras. His legal counsel insists the singer vehemently denies wrongdoing, yet they petition to seal certain financial records. Records that, insiders claim, show large outgoing transfers labeled consulting retainers. So here we sit, hearts thumping, as Bieber wipes a tear and glances at the gallery. His disclosure has transformed Ray J from side story curiosity into central villain, Diddy's alleged equal, or perhaps darker shadow. We wonder how many more stars will step forward, maybe a boy band survivor, maybe an actress whose short-lived hiatus now seems suspicious, because once one domino falls, the rest rarely stay upright.
I'm Eva Pilgrim. Thanks for streaming with us. Incredibly graphic testimony today in the Sean Diddy Combs trial, and we have to warn you, some of what you hear
We can already anticipate how defense lawyers will counter, painting Bieber as a troubled former teen star who misreads memories through a lens of later turmoil. Yet the courtroom's collective gasp and Ray J's own recorded boasts suggest this narrative won't be dismissed so easily. The judge's gavel calls for another recess, but no one moves. Our thoughts spin across time zones, to any venue where Ray J once whispered about freak-offs, to any soul wrestling with buried secrets, wondering if now is finally the moment to speak. And if you thought these revelations couldn't get any darker, just wait, because the rabbit hole yawns wider than anyone dared believe, and the next witness is already pacing outside, clutching a folder thick with papers. Names, time-stamped transfers, wire authorizations, and we can already taste the fear sizzling through Beverly Hills boardrooms. We've been told that folder maps an entire blackmail economy, a secret market Ray J allegedly started bragging about back when camera crews still followed him for light-hearted reality shows. One A-list manager swears her client just wired $800,000 to a Delaware shell firm, hoping a certain compromising recording never sees sunrise. Another publicist confessed to us in hushed tones that she's canceling all her clients' red carpet appearances until the storm passes, because as Ray J himself admitted on camera, somebody has the truth, somebody pays you to keep it quiet. We can practically hear the shredders humming in Westwood law offices tonight.
It's getting hot. Yeah, it absolutely is. Another layer to this story, Anne-Marie. A federal investigation into Combs has been ongoing, but he has not been charged with a crime.
We now understand why insiders describe it as a pyramid built on hush clauses. At the top, a few puppeteers apparently hold archives of covert footage. Beneath them, terrified tastemakers scramble to keep their names out of lawsuits. We've learned that a boutique forensic firm in West LA just received a frantic call from an R&B veteran begging technicians to hack into obsolete flip phones and purge any trace of neon-lit poolside antics. Rumor says the quote for that digital cleanup hit 7 figures, paid upfront in euros through an Amsterdam fintech broker. That's not damage control, that's survival mode. And the paranoia? It's metastasizing. We scrolled a private group chat of stylists and makeup artists, normally a playground for lipstick launches, and found it hijacked by frantic DMS. Check every mirror, cover the laptop lens. If you sign an NDA, photograph it first. One veteran wardrobe supervisor claims she's refusing any mansion party unless a lawyer inspects the smoke detectors. Meanwhile, streaming platforms hold emergency summits, debating whether to yank vintage appearances featuring Ray J, Diddy, or anyone remotely linked. They fear a tidal wave of demonetization once the next deposition leaks.
And there has been a lot going on. Since November, there have been 8 civil lawsuits filed against Diddy. 7 of them accuse him of assault.
In corridors of the big agencies, assistants whisper about yet-to-be-named victims. Backup dancers, social media influencers flown in on ambiguous hosting deals, promising rookies dazzled by platinum plaques on the wall. How many arrived starry-eyed, only to exit with their dreams traded for silence? We picture a velvet rope transformed into a noose of complicity. And for every person brave enough to testify, 10 more, we're told, hover on the edge, terrified that speaking will unleash the very footage they never wanted recorded. No wonder Justin Bieber looks like he carries invisible weights. We've all dissected his chaotic detours, late-night drag races, pet capuchin fiascos, tearful apologies. But viewed through this lens, those episodes feel less like bratty rebellion and more like a trauma response. Remember his own admission that bodyguards checked his pulse nightly? He once told GQ he woke each day numb, fueling himself with substances just to dull memories. Now imagine that haze masking replays of Ray J's alleged violations, dulled only by more studio sessions, and a globe that kept cheering for encore. We've noticed Bieber sidestepping every press query about Diddy. Paparazzi shout, "What about those old parties?" He offers a polite half smile, climbs into the Sprinter, door slams. Insiders tell us this isn't mere brand strategy, it's dread. One friend of his inner circle says Justin worries there's still a compromising clip locked in someone's vault. Another claims the pop star hired a private cyber investigator last year, tasking them with trawling the dark web for any leak tied to his early career. If you had stared down Ray J's alleged operation, wouldn't you do the same?
I could be attracted to a man, while I still am very attracted to
We also can't forget that the same week Bieber broke down on stage in London, Ray J was spotted meeting a Beverly Hills attorney known for pre-litigation settlements. Coincidence? Industry veterans laugh at the idea. They say hush money moves faster than K-Town gossip, and that office lights were burning past midnight. Days later, Bieber canceled the remainder of that tour. At the time, his team cited exhaustion. We now suspect exhaustion may have been shorthand for a backstage ultimatum. Keep quiet, keep touring, or risk humiliation on a giant screen. While we ponder Bieber's burden, storm clouds gather over Diddy's empire. Executives at 2 major labels were told have been advised to explore emergency golden parachute clauses. Shareholders don't want their quarterly statements tainted by subpoenas. An Atlantic City casino quietly pulled promotional posters for an upcoming Bad Boy reunion. Sponsors freeze phone numbers, waiting to see who else the FBI might subpoena after seizing those hard drives from the Star Island mansion. One investigator hints that chain of custody reports list multiple solid-state cartridges labeled Houston 2012 and Crystal Sweet Master. We shiver. Houston? As in Whitney? Or a city? Either way, attorneys quake. Let's revisit that tragedy. Onlookers long suspected Whitney Houston knew more than she let on. We've interviewed a once trusted aide who recalls Whitney receiving late-night calls from an unknown number, the voice sweet yet threatening, insisting she traveled to Diddy's white party that summer. She refused. Weeks later, she was gone, and speculation erupted that someone behind the scenes wanted silent lips forever. We're not declaring Ray J orchestrated anything, but analysts keep circling a chilling fact. The same alleged blackmail mastery Bieber just detailed could equally pressure icons, battling personal struggles. Tape a private meltdown, whisper a thread, and their legacy is yours to control.
Did you at any stage think I may never sing again?
I never thought I wouldn't. I couldn't. I just didn't want to.
Inside Ray J's camp, sources describe bunker mentality. Handlers rotate prepaid phones, switch drivers nightly, wipe laptops fortnightly. Even his celebrated reality projects face abrupt production halts. One streaming executive admits they suspended post-production after legal flagged excessive litigation risk. Translation, they fear being subpoenaed for raw footage catching stray admissions. Compare that to Ray J's bravado mere months ago, taunting, "Come get me," and we see a man hearing the hounds at the gate.
I think a lot of people are just trying to understand what is and what's not, you know? It's still a big question mark. Pray for everybody, though.
Back to Bieber, because in many ways, he embodies the generation that paid the steepest price. His spiral was televised, memed, mocked, but how many critics grasped he might have been haunted by threats of exposure? We dug up an old VIP writer from his Believe tour, black towels, alkaline water, and a clause forbidding unauthorized recording devices within 30 feet backstage. At the time, we chuckled, teen pop diva demands. Now we see a survival tactic from a young performer determined never again to be caught on a stranger's secret lens. We've spoken with touring crew who remember him flinching whenever a staffer lifted a cell phone too quickly. One lighting tech says Bieber once ordered overhead rigging dimmed because a reflective surface reminded him of eye cameras in Diddy's house. The crew brushed it off, but tonight, as sworn testimony circulates, that anecdote feels tragic. Trauma leaves fingerprints, the start and stop gospel concerts, the sudden cancellations, the public vow to pursue faith over fame. All of it perhaps ripples from one origin, Ray J and those locked rooms.
You enjoy the demise of relationships on TV, but that's still on these surfaces of disagreeing.
Meanwhile, crisis management firms are booked solid. A senior partner at the most coveted PR agency told us they've opened a special Diddy desk, triaging frightened actors, retired NFL alumni, even a streaming platform CEO rumored to have attended a freak-off in 2014. They're crafting statements in case. We've seen draft after draft, the classic denial, the pivot to therapy, the preemptive donation to survivors' charities. One draft even tries to spin hidden camera claims as innovative content capture, a ludicrous stunt that sources say was quickly scrapped. Payoffs, of course, continue. Real estate records reveal a Bel Air micromansion sold last week well below market to a Delaware trust linked to an R&B producer who once toured with Diddy. Analysts believe liquidating assets is a quick way to raise hush capital. The producer's attorney insists it's normal portfolio rebalancing. We raise an eyebrow. Nobody cashes out of a mansion for 2/3 price unless currency needs moving faster than escrow can clear.
I want the world to know that Bobby Christina did not from the bathtub incident. That's not what Bobby Christina.
What Bobby Christina?
Bobby Christina was starved to
Then there's the haunting specter of hidden tapes. Tech experts warn us, analog vaults can burn, but digital files live forever, replicated on forgotten cloud drives. One ex-employee claims Ray J stored backups on offshore servers in the Caymans, each folder named after the yacht they were filmed on: Sunseeker, Moonlight, Sea Dragon. Investigators are already drafting mutual legal assistance requests. If those drives surface, we're not just talking about grainy party clips. We're talking contracts, messages, hush payment ledgers, evidence that could topple brands, labels, maybe even streaming giants who bankrolled docuseries featuring these very players. Our phones haven't stopped buzzing, choreographers offering anonymous tips, stylists sobbing after recalling nights they ferried trembling newcomers to gated compounds. A former personal chef is ready to describe a pantry stocked with hard-to-pronounce wellness tonics allegedly used as liquid courage, poured into vintage crystal before doors sealed. He swears he once glimpsed Ray J tucking a miniature camera behind a floral centerpiece, then ruffling Bieber's hair, calling him Little Bro. Whether prosecutors summon that chef, we don't know. But he's sitting on receipts.
Located her body inside this hotel. So far, police and the coroner are refusing to offer details about what may have caused her tragic.
In parallel, Diddy's legal team fires salvos. They insist there's no excuse for the excessive show of force, decrying raids as witch hunts. Yet every time they send a statement, another civil complaint lands. We count 8 suits since November. Attorneys for alleged victims queue like rush hour traffic outside the courthouse, each holding thick binders labeled with initials, not full names. Proof that fear still dictates anonymity. And remember, Bieber chose to reveal his identity. Others aren't ready or can't risk retaliation from unseen financiers who'd rather write million-dollar checks than face one afternoon on the witness stand. We'd be remiss not to mention the echo across streaming charts. Bieber's early albums spike as younger listeners devour his lyrics for hidden confessions. Ray J's catalog, on the other hand, plummets. Algorithmic playlists quietly replacing his tracks with similar vibe songs. Diddy's radio spins freeze altogether in certain markets. Insider memos from a major broadcasting conglomerate advise DJs to exercise caution with catalog featuring pending litigation. Culture, it seems, is voting with headphones. Yet behind the data, the human cost towers higher. We interviewed a former dancer who just weeks ago spilled details about an NDA she signed at 19. She's now in her 30s, raising twins, and only after Bieber's court appearance did she feel brave enough to break the clause. She confessed Ray J escorted her to a marble guest bath where he instructed her to recap the night's best moments on camera while he stood behind a frosted partition. She left with a 4-figure thank you and nightmares she still medicates. Multiply her by dozens, perhaps hundreds, and we grasp the scale.
Apparently, Ray J did not like an interview that he did with Pastor Bryant, and here's what Ray J said initially.
I had nothing but love for Pastor Bryant, but if y'all play that interview, somebody getting snatched off the pulpit, me and Pastor Brian need to talk because the way I was treated was dirty and illegal.
At the same time, whispers swirl that certain big names, an action franchise hero, a beloved talk show regular, are seeking to get ahead of any tape leaks by issuing blanket apologies for past insensitive behavior. Their teams hope ambiguity will blunt the blow-if footage surfaces. But society has changed. We want specifics. Vague remorse will only fan suspicion. What exactly are you afraid we'll see? And that brings us to the final, chilling hinge of this saga. those archived files supposedly linking Ray J to Whitney Houston's last tragic hours. One LA clerk claims authorities retrieved a tablet containing a video file labeled Nippy Confession. Investigators won't confirm it exists, but if it does, it could redraw the narrative of that bathtub tragedy. Did Ray J hold leverage over Whitney, leveraging fear to keep her from disclosing what she witnessed at those parties? Or is the file merely a red herring, planted to spook anyone digging too deep? We can't say yet.
It was just an escape for me. I was just young, like everybody in the industry and people in the world who experiment and do.
All we know is that the dominoes keep teetering. Bieber's voice is now on record, Ray J's alleged playbook is exposed, Diddy's once untouchable kingdom teeters like a Jenga tower missing too many support beams. Record execs, festival promoters, daytime hosts, everyone wonders if the next hot mic moment, the next subpoena, or the next leaked clip will paint them into the scandal. Because these hidden tapes, if they surface in unison, could flip Hollywood's power map upside down. And here we stand at the cliff's edge, breath caught. The folder in that witness's arms, it's just one of many. What if more arrive? What if a cloud password cracks open tomorrow? We can almost hear the click of play, the collective gasp, the frantic calls to lawyers. We've never been closer to seeing an entire elite ecosystem laid bare. So we leave you with this. Surveillance drives are ticking time bombs, hush payments are only delaying detonation, and every sealed NDA might soon read like an admission of guilt. If Justin Bieber's voice is finally being heard, whose silence is next to be broken? And when those hidden tapes hit daylight, will the glittering skyline of celebrity crumble in a single bone-rattling crash? Hit the comments, tell us who you think is still hiding in the shadows, and brace yourselves because the next revelation could drop before our very next breath. Stay bold, stay curious, and until we spill the next cup of piping drama, keep those eyes wide open.